Today, let's get to listen to stories of triumph amidst failures, courage despite fear, strength through weakness, and even the occasional hopeful cheer from personal punny experiences. I am your host, RKaye, and this is the BetterU Podcast.
What is up, fam? Welcome to today's episode of the BetterU Podcast. Coach RKaye here. Thank you so much for joining me today. And now we are closing up another month. So we are closing up the Kombat Warrior fitness program. Guys, if you haven't checked it out, please do consider checking it out. It has officially started last Monday. So for you guys who would definitely like to join me for a 12-week program, do consider it. We are still open and still have slots for people to join us. But as I mentioned, today is our final day to really dive in and talk about the Kombat Warrior. Now, since it is a martial arts-based training and fitness program, a lot of people are most likely a little bit skeptical as to how they can incorporate it into their own fitness routines. And I think one of the things that we really do need to consider when it comes to including different modes of training or different types of tools into a fitness program is the ability that we have in terms of learning a particular program. And many people do tend to shy away from martial arts moves because there is a certain level of certain skills and types of exercises that many feel is a little bit more difficult than our usual gym favorites like lifting weights or running. And to me personally, that's why I am really confident in sharing the Kombat Warrior with you guys, is because of the certain level of physical capability that you get to increase when you take part of this program. Now, I believe that's actually one of the things that many of us do forget when we get into a fitness routine or a fitness program. One of the main things that we really do get to learn is coordination and being able to adjust to many of the physical advantages that we get to benefit and learn throughout our fitness journey. I remember when I began my martial arts days way back when. I started out when I was around 12 years old. A little bit more mature to learn many skills, especially, in terms of coordination. It was a little bit easier, I suppose, if I compare it and if I started out if I was younger. But then again, I wasn't really sure. I couldn't really compare it, right? But I believe, a lot of us really tend to look at a fitness journey more on the perspective of changing our bodies physically. We don't get to give focus on the opportunity that we get to learn many different skills, many different exercises. We do not get to give focus on that, and we do not really see too much benefit to that. Essentially, like we have to be truly honest with ourselves. A lot of people in the fitness industry, even some of the top coaches, not many who are, to say the least, are popular with a lot of people, not many really preach about, oh, my fitness program will help you become a lot more coordinated, improve your agility, make you more flexible, make your body move better. A lot of those coaches, are tend to be a little bit on the back end. Many people are attracted more to coaches who tell you, oh, I'll let you lose X amount of weight, or I'll I'll help you gain X amount of muscle or mass. These days, we tend to look at a fitness journey more on the physical side of it and not so much on a lot of other aspects that our body goes through. And through the Kombat Warrior, I wanted to help everyone to be able to appreciate more that side of a fitness journey. I remember when I was still doing a lot of the martial arts side, when I was very highly focused on it, it was a period of time where I was a lot younger. And of course, when you're younger, you tend to be able to adapt more, possibly to many different skills. But of course, there are certain people who also have a, let's say, uncoordinated body. That includes me. I do have and have tended to have two left feet. So I'm fairly certain that a lot of you probably can relate or don't relate or know someone who experiences that. But that really is possibly one of the best things that I can compare martial arts training with, especially when you incorporate upper body and lower body movements together. It's kind of like a choreographed dance. So it takes a lot of time and practice. And that is actually one of the things also that you can really relate to a regular fitness and gym activity. Guys, we are so used to repetitions, right? So if you start out your training, if you start out to finally want the change that you need, you go to a gym, enroll yourself, and what do we usually do? What we usually do is our coach, or if you don't have a coach, your program will tell you, okay, 3 sets of 12, 3 sets of 20. And that essentially also is the same background when you do martial arts training. We go through 10, 20, 30, sometimes even 100 repetitions in one training session. And what does that do to your body? Your body, number one, adapts to that specific skill. Number two, your body increases the progress that it gets to go through with specific skills. And that in itself, you can already see that, hey, it is the same type of training progression as compared to the usual gym programming, right? So that in itself actually is one of the key ingredients when you go through a fitness program. You really have to do repetitions. You have to repeat it. It doesn't matter if your program is, based on counts or repetitions, or if you go through a program where you time yourself and do as many repetitions as you can. That still is a repetition. So that in itself, guys, I'd like you all to really be able to look into martial arts as something that is quite similar to many of the well-known tools that we get to see when it comes to improving fitness. As I mentioned, martial arts training is something that normally, from an outsider's perspective, some of the movements are or look choreographed, and it's very similar to when you do a specific dance. So your body has to really coordinate well. Your upper body, your upper extremities, and your legs have to coordinate at a perfect time for you to be able to execute a particular strike, whether it's a punch, whether it's a kick. People, when they go through martial arts training, it has to be best timing as well. So I've been mentioning different types of skills that we get to learn through training, coordination, timing, also being able to have a little bit of speed and agility. Those are also skills that you get to learn when you go through and focus on martial arts based training. So you guys, I hope that this helps you out in terms of deciding if you would like to join us for the Combat Warrior program. Many different types of training tools that we get to learn when we want change to happen in our fitness progression. Many of these tools are, of course, applicable to losing weight or gaining muscle. And as I've mentioned, when it comes to martial arts training, because of the different skills that we get to learn that are very unique and very different, these types of changes that we like to gain in terms of fitness goals, in terms of fitness progression, we also get to earn it through martial arts training. I remember when I began my own journey as a martial artist, it was mainly, as I believe that I've mentioned it quite a few times, when I began my martial arts training, it was mainly for weight loss. And it was barely a very, very good opportunity for me to have lost all that weight, because I cannot count how many punches and kicks and how many times I had to run all over the place just to be able to have that type of martial artist's endurance. And though in those days, of course, I dreaded it, but if I go back to it and recall, I would have done a little bit better. I would have put in a lot more effort. But even despite that, guys, a lot of the weight that I did have during that time, I lost quite a bit of weight during that time. And I do attribute a lot of it with how the martial arts movements helped me to not only learn new skills, you also have that opportunity to let your body learn something new. And that in itself, guys, is already something that you should really, or a lot of us really should get to normalize. Many of us get into fitness and really just have that idea that, okay, my fitness can become better if I go to the gym. That's something that I would like many of you listeners and viewers and subscribers to know, that it is not just the gym that will help us get to that point where we see the changes that we want. There are just literally so many other options that we can join, that we can learn, and I hope that that is something that you guys can get to also look into. It's not just also martial arts training that you guys can uh, look out as a different option for you to improve on your health and your fitness. There are just literally a ton of different activities, a ton of different sports, and a ton of other ways and tools to help you along the way to reach your goals and to improve your health and your fitness. So, guys, that is pretty much all that I've got for all of you today. I hope that made it a little bit more clear. A lot of things falling over here. But anyway, I hope that was a lot more clear for you all in terms of how it is that the Kombat Warrior really started, how the Kombat Warrior has worked, and how the Kombat Warrior will be able to help you out in your own fitness journey. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. That's something falling. I'm still not sure what it was. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today with my blooper and everything else in between. I shall see you guys again next week for another month. It will be my birthday month, so we'll get into a lot more fitness and health related stories and topics for you all, and I hope that you get to stay tuned for all of those other episodes. All right, guys, thank you again for joining me today. Coach RKaye here, reminding you always to never give up on your movement journey because it's never too late to move. Bye, guys. See you again.